So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to International Women's Day today. This is Marie Fertoni, the CEO of Get Clients Everywhere at getclientseverywhere.com. And I am a business coach that works with women entrepreneurs to help them grow their business, be profitable, get new clients, and live a great life through entrepreneurism. And I am here today. We're celebrating the second volume of Inspiring Women. This next book is just out, and it's called Inspiring Women, Living Unstoppable Lives of Purpose, Power, and Passion. And I am here with one of our esteemed authors, Karen Osborne, who lives in Florida. And she is part of this book and has really written a beautiful chapter about strength, going for it, overcoming resilience, finding strength. It's just such an uplifting story, and I'm just happy to introduce you to Karen. So, Karen, welcome to this interview.
Oh, thank you, Marie. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so honored to be part of this amazing book.
I know, right? We've collected some really great people, and I never imagined. I mean, some of these stories are just really, really wonderful, and I think they're so timely in terms of what's happening in the world today, and what's happening for women, and what's happening for families. So I hope that you all will take a listen to this interview and get some nuggets that Karen will share. Karen is a certified interior designer, and she's the owner of Karen Renee Interior Designs. You can reach her at KarenReneeInteriors.com, and she works and in the whole interior design field and works mostly to really design model homes and things. Do I have that correct?
Yes, you do. Yes,
And
model
some
homes and clubhouses.
and clubhouses. I love that. I mean, that's a great way to really create a market, in your niche, as we say. She also mentors and works with other designers to help bring them along because who doesn't need a mentor and who doesn't need somebody that's cheering you on in your back pocket? I think we all do for that. But, Karen's story, begins with she's out of school, she's going to find a job, and she, like many people, found it difficult to be hired for whatever reason. But you know what? That's where she began to be unstoppable. She probably began a lot being unstoppable a lot before that, but professionally, she just kept going and said, I need to find a place to work, so I'm going to start my own business. I think many people today are in that space of, I want to start my own business. And that's speaking to my heart. What can I say? What was it like when you got your first space and did that? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. I was working from home at the time, and I had started my business. It was during the recession, many years ago, and we had just gotten back into town because I was with my fiance at the time. He was going through flight training for the military, and I came back and couldn't get hired. So my mother-in-law said to me, "Well, why don't you just start your own business?" And
Smart
I was like,
mother-in-law.
"Well, maybe I should look at that." So what I ended up doing was getting a part-time job at a commercial design firm. And then on the other days and nights and weekends, I worked very hard to get my own business started. And I started out of my home. At that point, I never even turned on a computer. So I bought a computer. This was in 1992. Bought a computer, and then I realized, well, I need to have a bookkeeping program. So I bought QuickBooks and I read the manual. And every single day I'd read a chapter, then I'd go and practice on the computer, and I taught myself QuickBooks. And
Oh,
that's how I got started at home. And then when a commercial space opened up, I was really, wanting to move there. So I took it, leap of faith, and then realized, well, I need some help. I need someone here in the office to meet walk-ins and take deliveries and things like that. So all at the same time, I committed to the office and an assistant, my first design assistant, and that's how it all got started.
wow. And as they say, the rest is history, right?
Yes.
But what I love that is like, when you were thwarted by like, no one's going to hire me, I'm just going to do what I need to do. But you took a leap of faith. And there
Yeah.
must have been some, belief inside that you could do this. And, I'm not sure I would sit and get a manual for QuickBooks and learn how to do QuickBooks myself. I would figure out a way to pay that bookkeeper. That is not my thing. However, what you did was you really made a commitment to your business and for the success of it, and you did whatever it took to make that happen. And that I think is such a great lesson because many of us just give up or we think it's too hard, it's too daunting, and you know, maybe I'll just go get a job doing something else. But you had that
Yes.
spark in you that kept going.
Well, I really looked at how can I get this started and still have an income, which was what made me think, well, get a part-time job. So one day, and it was a new area for me, Annapolis, I got in my car, I said, I'm not coming back without a job. I drove down to Annapolis. There was no GPS at that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I know what the exits are for Annapolis. So I just got off at one of the exits. I went to three different design firms. The third one, I walked in and I said, can I meet with the owner? I'm looking for a part-time job. And the receptionist said, well, she's busy today. And I just looked at her and I said, please, it'll just take 5 minutes. And she said, okay, let me talk to her. And she went and talked to her. She said, okay, she'll give you 5 minutes. And that was the first part-time job I had. It was drafting systems furniture by hand before, AutoCAD was popular. And I worked that job for 18 months while I started my business.
Wow. Well, you went right in there, and even though you got a no, you made an unreasonable request
Yes.
and said, no, please, 5 minutes. And sometimes it's that when we're willing to go that extra mile, something opens because, the universe matched your intention, which was great,
It
you know.
did, yes.
So then, then you've got this design firm, then you're rolling along, and something happened in your community that really touched you. And it was about a young girl by the name of Caitlin. Can you say a little bit about that and how that spurred you on to another adventure in your life and business of service?
Yes. So some friends of ours had a little girl named Kaylin. She was 3 years old, and they had just moved out of the area. And I got a call from a mutual friend, and he said, I have some really bad news for you. Caitlin has an incurable brain cancer, and I just wanted you to know. And it just really blew me away. I was so sad and upset for the family. And the mom documented her whole journey on Facebook. So I followed it. I followed it all the time. And towards the end, I followed it every single day. And then she passed away. And I was going into a program where I was going to take on a nonprofit project. And I knew it was going to be in memory of Kaylin. I just didn't know, what it was going to look like. So I went on to, again, the Facebook page from the mom, and it said, in lieu of flowers, please send donations to Ocoa Refuge. And I was like, well, what's Ocoa Refuge? So I looked into it, and it turns out it's a mission in Uganda where a church in Jacksonville was supporting the mission, and there were two missionaries that went over there to really start this for Ocoa Refuge. It's an orphanage, and they were there, completely devoting their lives to it. And I was like, you know what? That's what the project's going to be about. At the time, they were adding on an orphan infant wing. And I was like, okay, let's just raise like maybe $5,000. We can get some furniture or whatever they need for it. So that's how it all got started.
And then when I noticed you had a big win in pursuing this that ended up with $57,000.
Yes,
What was that like?
that was amazing because I did underestimate myself and my friends when I said, okay, let's raise $5,000 because my two really good friends helped me, and we had a fashion show fundraiser for 200 guests. and we raised, way more than $5,000. And I had the parents of Kaylin come to the fashion show, and they were staying with us. And the next morning, she said to me, "Oh my gosh, this is enough money to buy the building for the medical clinic." And I said, "What medical clinic?" And she said, "Well, it's been a dream of the missionaries to have a medical clinic to support not only the orphanage, but the village, and provide affordable health care for the people who couldn't afford it." And she said, "Do you mind if we use the money for that?" I was like, "No, that's awesome." So within a couple of weeks, because they had already identified a building that was in foreclosure, so it was a good price, and I believe they put in a couple $1,000s, but they bought that building with the money. And then the next year we had another fashion show and raised the money for all the medical supplies, including like a full dentist area, like, full on dentistry. And some people in the village never had a dentist appointment ever in their whole lives. And so it was very, very exciting. I got a call from the president of the board of Okoa Refuge, and he said, "We're going to Uganda to open the medical clinic, and we'd love to have you join us." And I
Wow.
was like, "Yes, what an opportunity, an experience of a lifetime." So I went over, they asked me to cut the ribbon, and I did that, and it was one of the best weeks of my life, getting to know the people who are opening the clinic, and it was amazing.
It's like where you can really see, like simple actions like, let's do this. I want to do something. And then it takes on a life of its own. And I like what you said. I think one of the nuggets to pull out there is that, I underestimated myself and my friends, thinking we could just do this small piece. And I think women do that a lot. We underestimate ourselves, and we get scared, and then we hold back. You know, um, the fear of failure can stop us. The fear of success can also stop us. So, good for you for like kind of saying, quiet down there, inner critic, and you're gonna go do this elsewhere. Then afterwards, going forward, it's interesting because the work that you did there really laid some groundwork, I think, for you. But you also suffered a personal loss that you also transformed and turned into something. It didn't happen overnight. But can you share a little bit about that and talk about the transformation that happened for you folks in there? Because I think it's so relevant today. So many people are experiencing something very similar.
Yes, yeah. So in 2019, we lost our son due to a drug overdose, and it was devastating, as you can imagine. Losing a child for myself and my husband, losing a sibling for my other two children, and we had a road ahead of us. Like, how do we deal with this, not only with our own grief, but as a family who's grieving? And everyone was grieving in different ways. And it's like, how do I support you when I'm feeling this loss and I can barely support myself? And it was a journey for us to grow into as time went on, and the conversations that we got to have with each other, and the times we just had to stop in life because someone in our family was suffering around the grief. And it really created like a new family dynamic, a bonding that we never had. And we are still getting through it together. It's been 6 years, and we've moved on the best way that we possibly can. As I say, we went from a family of five to a family of four, and how do you do that? Family photos aren't the same. There's so many things that it affects. But one of the things that Justin, our son, he was always giving. Like, he would be the person you would say he'd give the shirt off his back, or he'd give the last dollar in his wallet. And he really, that's who he was. He was the most non-judgmental person I ever met. And he really, his heart was there for helping people who were suffering from addiction and mental health situations. And we felt that the best way to honor his life and his legacy was to create something that can be out in the world that can help others who are dealing with it. So we got together with his girlfriend at the time, and together with an amazing app person who knows all the technical end of it. We created an app where families can stay connected. And then you have your 5 inner circle people on the app, and you can say, what is your mood today? It gives you an opportunity to say, what do you need? This is what I need. I need to talk to somebody. I need to hang out with somebody. I don't need anything. Just wanted to tell you what my mood was today. And many other things. When the 988, the national hotline came out, we incorporated a button in the app so that if someone was in a crisis situation, they could go directly to the 988 number. And if they gave permission, it would also alert their family circle or their inner circle that was on the app that there was a crisis, and also provide their location. And we really saw that in a short window of time, when there's a crisis, that it could save lives. So that's what we got out there. It's called Just in Time Wellness.
What a gift.
Yeah, yeah,
A
and
gift of honor,
yes,
legacy. Yeah. And you want to say a little bit about what's happening now?
yes. So we're excited to announce that another nonprofit has now acquired the app, and they're going to change the name. It hasn't been announced yet, but they're going to make it bigger and better and more available for more people to be on it. Right now it is worldwide. The last that I looked, we had people from 28 different countries on it. And I'm so excited for the future of it, that someone's taking it over and really putting so much into making it even bigger, and giving more access to more people for family connection and for help in a crisis situation.
It's just amazing. Congratulations on that. I think part of it is, I think I can't imagine what it was like to lose your son. But years ago, when I first started my career, I worked and ran a hotline in a drug and alcohol treatment center. And I sat with many parents like yourself that lost a loved one. And it's heartbreaking. And what you did inside of that tragedy, I mean, that was another opportunity for you. Just like, I can't get hired, so I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to do something with this that is an honor for your son, as well as it will make a difference in the world. And then you just say yes, and you just start. You take the next step, and you take the next step. And I think so many people are so reticent about taking that next step when we don't know what's going to happen when we take that step, and we say yes, or we walk through that door. But in doing that, and then it gets its recognition, somebody else approaches you and says, we want to take this over and make it bigger. And you give permission for that. And the impact that that makes on a global nature is great. It's a way of not letting grief stop you, and being able to work with perseverance. So perseverance, resilience, your strength, all of those things that I think women really have, but we don't always act on it. You
Yes,
acted on it.
yes, yes. And I remember recently having a conversation with my daughter about failure. And it's like, you know what? If you don't take the actions and you don't take the chance, you're going to fail. You're going to fail over and over again, and that's okay. But there are going to be things that are going to stick, and they're going to make a huge difference in the world and in your life. And if we don't take that step, we'll never know what's possible.
Yeah, I think I mean, just right there. If we don't take that step, we never will know what's possible. I love it that you've created a new narrative, for your family, for yourself. And you can see, I think for those of you that can appreciate Karen's ability to be a beautiful designer and have these great clients that do that. I mean, her accessibility, her vulnerability, and just being able to really share all of this. I'm sure that that plays a big part in your designs and how you work with people and what you want to accomplish for your clients, and just creating a place of a space of beauty and safety and serenity and whatever it is that their intention is, you can be with that and provide that. So, you know, um, I hope that people will uh, get out there and get our book right now. It is available on Amazon in Kindle fashion and a softcover book, as well as Barnes and Noble. And if you'd like in the near future, when we get all of our own books, you can reach out to Karen and she can provide that for you. She's got a great story. She's got a great heart. She's a great leader. She's committed to transformation. And I'm so honored and really privileged that you said yes to this book project because, it's just wonderful what you've contributed and your story is just so meaningful. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you, Marie. I really, really appreciate being included.
Yes, ma'am. And if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to reach you, Karen?
My website is KarenReneeInteriors.com.
Awesome. And is there any particular type of person or business that you'd like to meet and connect with that we might be able to provide for you?
We love expanding with home builders.
Okay.
So any home builders that are doing communities that are looking for model homes, that's where we love to expand, as well as on the residential side. We really do some beautiful work on waterfront, oceanfront homes in Maryland and Delaware, and so we're looking for those clients as well.
It's really awesome. Thanks for sharing that. One of my mottos always is great people know great people, and we want to meet the great people that you know. So thank you so much again for being part of this. You can reach Karen again at KarenReneeInteriors.com. Again, this is Marie Fertoni with Get Clients Everywhere, and we hope that you have a great International Women's Day today and a great day every day. Thank you. A good one.